So for people who are not Friday students, I'm Megan. Some people who, again, are new here, one of the things we've been doing this month, the month of David, is focusing on self. And so we've had some really interesting, we've had a faculty panel, we had a shir by Rav Landis, and one of the things we also talked about was trying to use Take 5, which is always about the self, pretty much. It's usually people talking about themselves. Wonderful. But specifically to focus on the question of what's next, because I think a lot of people come to Pardes, as we said, kind of in this time of confusion of who they are, and I was lucky to have had that period for myself last year, so I am here kind of knowing where I'm going, so I wanted to just spend a couple minutes talking about, I guess, my process of answering the questions what's next in a way that probably will not necessarily help anybody else, but if it does, great. Some people know, most of you probably know at Pardes that I'm planning on going to Rabbinical school next year at JTS. I applied last year, deferred, all that fun stuff, but from age about 12 until about a year and a half ago, I thought I was going to get a PhD in clinical psychology. I was one of the middle schoolers walking around being like, I'm going to be a psychologist. That started for me because in middle school I had a lot of friends who were having a lot of psychological problems. I'm sure you guys also encountered this in middle school. There's a lot of anxiety that comes with that age, and I wanted to fix it. So I spent a lot of time reading about that stuff. I went to college and majored in psychology, stopped doing Jewish stuff with my summers so that I could do psychology research, focused really, really intensely. It was very, very motivated, but also was getting more involved Jewishly, spent more time at Hillel probably than anywhere else in college. And so I decided in between college and graduate school that I didn't want to go straight to graduate school, that I wanted to work in the Jewish community. And so I applied to work for Hillel, and I said I was going to work for Hillel for 1 year. In between starting that job, I did come to Pardes for a summer and had a really amazing experience, but still was planning on applying to grad school. Somehow couldn't get motivated the first year. Was like, okay, I'll work for Hillel a second year, and then I'll apply. So I went into my second year still saying, people had kind of started saying to me, Megan, you're not going to leave the Jewish world. Megan, you're going to probably go to Rabbinical school or something. And I kind of looked at them and laughed. I was like, no, I know I want to be a psychologist. So I'm sure many of you guys probably have heard similar things to yourself. You're never leaving the Jewish world. It's so wonderful. I didn't take those comments seriously. But the summer between my first and second year working for Hillel, I had a host of really incredible experiences in Israel, in India. Towards the end of that summer, I was actually staffing a trip that Svi was on, and he remembers probably sitting on a bus with me and one of the rabbis I work with when they were like, Megan, we know you're going to be a rabbi. And I still said to them, no. But I got back to work, and I started thinking about the psychology applications that I knew I had to fill out, that I was not going to take out another year. And I just couldn't bring myself to do something, to think about doing something with my life that was going to put Judaism on the side. I knew that psychology programs were going to say, the fact that you worked for Hillel for 2 years is not useful to us. It's not research oriented. And I had a really hard time trying to think about what I wanted to do. I knew that for me, the overarching thing was helping people find meaning in their lives. I thought psychology was the right tool. I wanted to work specifically with adolescent girls who were going through intense depression. And I started thinking about Judaism as a tool for that meaning and what that meant. Should I think about rabbinical school? What would I do? So I got the rabbinical school applications and the psychology grad school applications, and I sat on my desk together and I started reading through both, and I got so excited to write the essays for rabbinical school and had no desire to do any of the stuff for psych grad school. So I kind of just took that as a sign for myself and said, okay, that works. So I applied and had a really, really positive experience. I still struggle with the fact that I really want to have the skills that go along with being a psychologist to help people. I do think that those things, a lot of times rabbis are called upon to do things that psychologists may do better, not always. So it's something I continue to struggle with. As you guys have noticed, I'm here. I will be here for about another month, so I'm sad to be leaving you guys somewhat soon. I'm going to be spending the spring doing some traveling around Asia and other such things, and then I will be starting rabbinical school in the fall. I guess my only final takeaway message from this is that some of us have held in our head something we think we're supposed to do because we spent so much time thinking we're going to do it, and that it's really important, I guess, to be willing to listen to ourselves, to listen to the people around us who maybe know us really well, and at least be open to reconsidering our life plans, because it could lead you somewhere you want to be.